So somebody help me start number 2. How do I start it?
You gotta add common.
Yeah, there's like terms. They're right here. So I have 6 negatives and I have 4 negatives. What do I get if I put the 6 negatives and the 4 negatives together? I get 10 negatives. Okay, negative 10a. I have a lot of earbuds I can see. And I shouldn't be able to see any earbuds. All the earbuds should be out. Okay. Hey guys, you want to return to your seats? We're going over number 2. All right, so we put all those negative a's together. We got negative 10. And then at this point, what is our goal now?
I added 10A.
Added 10a. Okay, so if we add 10a over to the other side, then we're trying to get all the a's onto one side. So got rid of these a's. We have 1. We keep our symbol. We still have that one. And then 6 and 10 gives you what? 16. Okay. And this is where the problem starts to feel a little bit weird. So what should I do from here? I want the a's to be alone. So I've got a positive 1. I'm going to subtract the 1 over. And you might start to feel like you're not doing it right. So you subtract the 1, and you end up getting nothing on this side because the 1's cancel out, and you just have 0 left over. And then you've got 16a right there. And a lot of students feel like something went wrong here. But it's okay. 0 is an okay answer to have on this other side. And then how do we get the a all by itself? Divide by 16. So when they're written right next to each other, it means multiply. So we're going to divide by 16. And what is 0 divided by a number? 0 divided by a number is just 0. And 0 is an okay answer. So anytime the a is written on the right side, I know that makes us a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm going to rewrite this. The little part is pointing to the a, so I'm going to make the little part point to the a. A is less than or equal to 0 is the answer. So that one was kind of weird. Are there any other parts of the warm-up you guys want me to talk about? Oh, they were all good? We're all good? Okay. We're going to go ahead and switch over to doing our notes. Okay, so today's notes are on a process called completing the square. And I'm going to see if you guys can figure out where the completing the square, maybe the term, why they call it that. We'll see if by the end of the period, if you guys can tell me why they call it that. Okay, so first thing we're looking at is some examples of squares. So if I had x minus 1 squared, what that really means is x minus 1 times x minus 1. We always know that exponents are just telling you how many times something is multiplied together. We don't need our Chromebooks today, so go ahead and close them, put them away in your bags. They should be completely put away. You don't need them at all today. So Chromebooks all the way away. I don't want to see them on your desk. Caitlin, you want to put it in your bag, please? Your Chromebook. Thank you. All right. So x minus 1 squared, it means we've got 2 of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply these two together. So we've got x multiplied by x is x squared. X multiplied by -1 is -1x. -1 multiplied by x is -1x. And -1 multiplied by -1 is +1. And so if I combine the like terms in the middle, I get x squared minus 2x plus the 1 on the end. Okay? Let's do the next one. We have x plus 3 squared. So since it says squared, I'm going to write it twice. And then I'm going to go ahead and just multiply it out. So x times x is x squared. X times 3, 3x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. And then if I add these two middle terms together, what do I get? I get 6x. Okay. Okay. So what we have is that squares, this x minus 1 squared, x plus 3 squared, these squares are binomials. Binomials means that it's got two terms inside. That's what binomial. They're factors that have been multiplied by themselves. Factors that have been multiplied by themselves. Okay. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do the reverse process on this. And that's what today is all about, is doing the reverse process. So if I had x squared plus 8x plus 16, I have this end answer. How do I go from the end answer back up one step? Divide what? Divide by 2. So I'm going to take this middle term, I'm going to split it in half. Everyone see that? So the 6 was 3 and 3. The -2 was -1 and -1. We all comfortable with that? Okay. So I'm going to write x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. Okay. And then I want to go backwards one more step, and I want to see what would have been in my parentheses. So x plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. If I go backwards, what should have been in my parentheses? X plus 4. And we can verify and just make sure that it makes sense. Okay, so if I did x times x, does that give me x squared? Yes. If I do x times 4, does that give me 4x? If I do 4 times x, does that give me 4x? If I do 4 times 4, does that give me 16? Yes. Okay, so x plus 4 and x plus 4 is perfect. And then if I write this as x plus 4 squared, does it make sense that I could take two of these parentheses and say that it is x plus 4 written twice? Yes. Okay. So what we just did is we completed the square. We wrote something as a square. Make sense? Okay. So here we want to figure out the same process. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to figure out how to figure out this third number here. All right. So if we had x squared plus 10x, if I was to split this up, this was x squared plus 8x. So if it was x squared plus 10x, what should the two middle numbers be? 5. Okay, so it would be x squared plus 5x plus 5x. Okay. So that means that what would be in the parentheses? 5. So it'd be x plus 5, and it'd be x plus 5. And then what number would be on the end? 25. It would be 5 times 5 is 25. Okay. Is there a shortcut we can do so that we don't have to write all this information?
Maybe. Yeah.
What did we do with the 10?
Divide by 2.
Okay, so we did 10 divided by 2, we got 5. And then what did we do with the 5? We times it by itself. We did 5 squared is 25. Okay, so let's try that with the next one. We're going to do negative 12 divided by 2 equals, you're close, negative 6. And then we're going to do negative 6 multiplied by itself. What's negative 6 times itself? 36. So 36 goes in the blank. So if we were to write this one out, it would be x minus 6 times x minus 6. Or x minus 6 squared. Yeah. Okay, let's try this one. Negative 100 divided by 2 is negative 50. Negative 50 times itself. You might need a calculator for that one.
250.
Not 250, but you're close.
No,
2,500.
I did 500.
Okay, 2,500. So 2,500 goes in there. And then if we were to put this in parentheses, the parentheses would be x minus 50, x minus 50. Okay? What about this one over here? Okay, so 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. It's a decimal, okay? And then 4.5 times itself. Need a calculator for this one. 4.5 times itself. 20.25. Okay, so that's what goes in here. And then in our parentheses, what would we have? X plus 4.5 times x plus 4.5. Or if we wanted to shorthand it, how could we write it more? We could do x plus 4.5 squared. Okay. All right. So that's what we're doing today. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to do problems where the number on the end is definitely not the number you want. So we're going to practice taking the number on the end and moving it over. Okay? So first thing we're going to do with these problems is we're going to take this number that we don't want, we're going to move it to the other side. Because that is not the number that we wanted. Okay, so I have y minus 3, and now I'm going to say x squared plus 6x, and I'm going to leave a blank so I can put the number that I want there. So what do I do with this? Okay, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Okay, so 9 is the number that I wanted. Okay, now I'm going to do this part in a color, so hopefully we don't forget it. So 9 is the number that goes in the blank. Now I am adding 9 to the right side of an equation. So what do I need to do to the left side to keep this equation balanced? I need to add 9 to the left side as well. So if I add 9 to the right side, I need to add 9 to the left side. Okay, so now on the right side of the equation, I could write that as x plus 3 times x plus 3. Do you guys agree with that? I could write this as x plus 3 times x plus 3, or I could write this as x plus 3 squared. Right? That's what we kind of figured out when we were doing these steps up here. So basically what happens is whatever number you get here when you divide by 2, that can go in your parentheses. X plus 3 times x plus 3, or you can shorthand it and write x plus 3 squared. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to write y, what's negative 3 plus 9? 6, y plus 6 equals, and then we're going to do the parentheses, x plus 3 squared. Now, if I want to go back like I had in the original problem and get my y all by itself, how could I move a positive 6? I could subtract it over to the other side. Y equals x plus 3 squared minus 6. And I'm all done. Now from here, I could tell somebody what the vertex is. Not yet, we got to do a couple examples. -3, -6.
What is this?
What are some of the transformations? Left 3, down 6. Left 3, down 6. Perfect. Okay, let's flip the page. We're going to try another one. Okay, first step. We're going to take the number on the end. We're going to move it to the other side. It's not the number that we wanted. We wanted a different number to be in that blank. So I'm going to write y minus 7 equals x squared minus 8x, and then I'm going to leave a space so I can put the number that I want there. And then what do I do with the -8? I divide it by 2. -4, okay. And then what do I do with the -4? I times it by itself. -4 squared is 16. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say 16 is that perfect number. It goes in the blank. But I can't just add 16 to the right side. What do I have to do to the left side? I have to add the 16 over there as well. Okay? Now at this point, I can rewrite the right side as my parentheses. So I'm going to say the right side of the equation, and I take the number that I got when I divided it by 2, -4. That goes in my parentheses. So I have x minus 4 squared. Whatever I got when I divided by 2, that goes in my parentheses. X minus 4 squared. On this side, I just have to combine my numbers. I've got the y, and then I've got -7 and positive 16. What does that give me? -7 and positive 16. It gives me 9, positive 9. Okay? And now I just need to get my y alone. How do I get my y alone? I'm going to take this positive 9, I'm going to subtract 9 over to the other side. And y equals x minus 4 squared minus 9. So what's the vertex? Positive 4, -9. What transformations can you see? Right 4 down 9. Good. Couple more. Okay. How should we start example 7? Subtract the 3 over. Okay. Y minus 3 equals x squared minus 2x plus blank. Okay. And then what do we do? Divide by 2. So -2 divided by 2 is -1. And we square it. -1 squared is 1. Okay. So -2 divided by 2 is -1. -1 squared is 1. So what do we do with this 1? We put it in the blank. since we added 1 to the right side, what do we do to the left side? We add 1 to the left side. Okay. And what goes in my parentheses? Whatever you got when you divided by 2, that number is the number that goes in your parentheses. So when we divided by 2, we got a -1, so I'm going to write x minus 1. When I divided by 2, I got -1, so I write x minus 1. And then what do I write on the other side? I write y minus 2. Okay? Now I want to get the y all alone, so what do I do? Add 2 over to the other side. And I get y equals x minus 1 squared plus 2. So what's the vertex for this one? It's, what is it? +1, +2, right? Opposite sign, +1, +2. Okay. Right 1 up 2. Okay, we're going to make it a little bit more difficult. We're going to deal with odd numbers. We're going to split odd numbers in half. Okay? So very first step is to do what? Before divide by 2. Move the 14 over. Okay. Y minus 14 is x squared minus 7x plus the blank. Okay. Take the -7, divide it by 2, and what do we get? -3.5, right? It's a negative. Okay. And then what do we do? Take the -3.5 and square it. What do we get? -3.5 squared, 12.25. So what do I do with the 12.25? I fill in the blank. And if I add it to the right side, then what do I do to the left side? I got to add it over there as well. Okay? So now, on the right side, I have some parentheses. And what goes in my parentheses? X minus 3.5, okay? And then what goes over here? -14 plus 12.25. Yeah, I can't do that in my head. -1.75. Y minus 1.75. Okay. And then how do we get the y all by itself?
You add 1.75.
Okay. So y equals x minus 3.5 squared plus 1.75. Okay. Were the odd numbers scary? Nah. They end up being fine. Okay, now what if somebody said, nope, no decimals, they have to be fractions?
Round it up. Round it.
Round it up?
No.
What do you mean round it up?
No, you wouldn't, because it would change the graph. So
Yeah, don't round it up to a whole number. Put it in the fraction form. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll take this same answer. I'm going to take -3.5. I'm going to turn -3.5 into fraction form. I'm going to click the math button on my calculator. I want everyone to do this. So type -3.5 and then hit the math button on your calculator right here, math button. Hit the math button. And number 1 says frac. Number 1 will turn it into a fraction for you. And then press enter. -7/2. So we're going to rewrite this. X minus 7/2. Okay? And then 1.75, we're going to do the same thing again with the other decimal. Hit the math button. Number 1 is frac. Press enter. 7/4. So if you ever have to turn it into a fraction, that's not difficult to do. Just take it, type in the decimal, hit the math button, and the first option will allow you to turn it into a fraction. Desmos does the same thing. So let me show you if you were on Desmos. If you type in a decimal on Desmos, 1.75, if you look all the way over here, can you guys see this over here? It looks like a fraction. If you click on that, it will take that decimal and it will turn it into a fraction for you. So if you have Desmos pulled up already and you want to do that, you can do that on Desmos as well. But if we're not using Desmos today, this is going to be the faster way to do it. Okay? All right. Let's do one more odd number, which means we're going to have more decimals and fractions. So what is my first step? Add the 2. Okay, I've got y plus 2 equals x squared plus 5x plus blank. And then, what do I do? 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. And then 2.5 squared is 6.25. Okay, so we're going to put 6.25 in the blank, and where else? Okay, so I've got my parentheses squared. What goes in my parentheses? X plus 2.5. And what's going to go over here? Y plus 8.25. Is that what we were saying? Okay. Yep. Because we have the 2 already? Okay. And then we got to get the y alone. Minus. Okay. And let's go ahead and convert it into fractions just in case we need the fraction answer. So I'm going to grab my calculator, type in 2.5, and then how am I going to convert it into a fraction? Click the math button, press enter twice. Okay, 5/2. And then 8.25, click the math button, press enter, enter, 33/4. Whew. Okay, there we go. All right, how do we feel about this process? We can do it? We got it? Okay.